So let's talk window feeders. What are window feeders? Window feeders are a cylindrical feeder with the window on the side. As simple as that. They're the most commonly used feeder nowadays on natural waters, such as here in Inniscarra and across the UK and Ireland, and across Europe for that matter. So what makes window feeders so good? Well, basically, they keep the fish on the bottom. They do not release the bait until it gets to the bottom, where obviously you're feeder fishing, fish are easier to catch there. You can fill them just as you would a normal feeder, have your worms, casters in your ground bait and fill them as normal. It'll get down there. But one of the most common ways is when you want to feed a lot of particle baits together, you just fill the feeder, fill it through the window and cover the window with a bit of ground bait. All them particles get to the bottom. Therefore, you're feeding a lot more particles than you are ground bait, which is an ideal situation sometimes for bigger bream. Hybrids in Ireland absolutely love that method. Or as well as that, you can feed a slop ground bait. If you need to kick-start your swim again, you can feed a lot of ground bait or a lot of really over-wetted ground bait in these window feeders. It'll hold. Obviously using a cage feeder you couldn't do that because on the cast it would fly out all over the place, waste of time. These window feeders allow you to do that, feeding a sloppy ground bait, gets to the bottom where it creates a nice cloud on the bottom and pulls them fish back into your swim. So, Daiwa have a new range of ZON window feeders. Let me talk you through this range and what makes this range of feeders different to the other window feeders on the market. Well, you have 4 sizes. You have small, medium, large, and then a bait up feeder. So all options are covered in sizes. Then when it comes to weights, for different distances, different weather conditions, you're going to need different weight feeders throughout that range. Well, the small comes in 20, 30, 40 and 50 gram sizes. The medium comes in 30, 45, 60 and 75 gram sizes. The large, 30, 45, 60 and 70 gram sizes. So that in them fishing feeders, you have a feeder there to cover all options, all distances, all depths of waters, everything you can consider. Now the bait up feeders, they come in 30, 45 and 60 gram. Now in a place like Inniscarra you might think, why do I need light bait up feeders? Surely you'll be casting distances. Well no, sometimes you want to cast only 15 metres close. You want a big bait up feeder to do that. You don't want a huge amount of lead in it. So having this range of sizes in the bait up feeder allows you to do that perfectly. So let me run you through some of the features of these new Daiwa ZON window feeders. Well, let's start with the window. Super size, very large window, which is ideal for both filling and the emptying of the bait. As you can see here, perfect size of the thumb and makes filling the feeder super easy. One of the most nice features I like is the large holes at the top of the feeder. This really aids water entering the feeder to flush out the bait on the feeder on the retrieve. You need to remember, when you're fishing window feeders, you're generally feeding for the next cast. So by moving the feeder, the bait flushes out, creates a cloud when you're retrieving and you're back out into feeding fish. So these large holes at the top super impress me. On the side, you have these small holes which allow water to penetrate the feeder to help that feeder soak up water and makes emptying the feeder again easier. Stops the feeder coming back half full. Very important. Now a super cool feature here on these feeders is the lip at the bottom of the feeder. What that does is allows you to feed sloppy ground bait as an impact. If the swim slows down a bit, you can feed over-wetted ground bait with these feeders. Fill the feeder with sloppy ground bait, which obviously is impossible to do throughout using a cage feeder, but the sloppy ground bait will hold into this feeder, get to the bottom before releasing, and then create a nice cloud on the bottom. Brilliant way of attracting fish straight back into the swim. Another great feature of these window feeders is the fact that they're slightly tapered in towards the top. This means that they fly through the air better, and when they hit the bottom, they sit up a little bit better before you tighten up to them, which helps release bait. Also at the top, a large eye swivel. Now what this large eye does, it's only a small feature, but it again makes it very handy for changing feeders. And yes, on natural venues, conditions change and you change feeders, both sizes and weights of feeders very regularly. So having a large eye there just helps accommodate doing that. So that's a little insight into the new ZON window feeders and how they can be used, and they're all available in all Daiwa UK stockists now.